Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's Bernie here if you're just joining us, and welcome back if you're not new. So anyway, someone asked me if I could do a video on my study technique, how I study. Now I know, because obviously I mentioned it a lot in my videos about like studying and whatever, doing so I guess that's why the person asked. Now with me personally, I think I have changed studying techniques, like I can't even count how many times now. And I think with medical school you need to adapt to different ways of studying. Now I had a particular way of how I studied. Like I've mentioned this, I think I mentioned this with the other girls in my very first video about one of the things we found difficult in medical school was to adjust to like a studying technique. I think I'm still adjusting. I don't think I've found like what I'm doing right now, I think it really works well. So I'll just see based on like long term. But yeah, I've been honestly just been shuffling and moving back and forth to just adjust and see what works best. Now I'll just go through what I'd done previously and what I do now, if anyone wants to take up any of this suggestions and try them for themselves, because that's the thing, don't follow what someone else is doing, you have to find what works for you. I think at first I was like writing notes, like writing it down like pen and paper, so making proper notes, detailed notes, so whenever after we have the lecture, and I just found that took time, it just took long. I didn't really want to do it anymore, so I started typing now, which I found great. I mean, it was quicker than writing it out, but what I then found from that was that please don't do this. What I did was that, so whenever I'm going for like the lecture slides and there's something particular I don't like, or like when I'm already tired and I can't bother to like search this condition that they've mentioned without expressing more or giving more information about it, I just leave it out. I mean, you shouldn't do that, but I just leave it out. I mean, in my head I'm like, well, if it's important they would have said, but honestly that's not something you should do, or I should have done rather. I have about 3 pages for each lecture, and then that was all fine and good, but then I noticed that I get quite, I don't know if what I was to say, to get bored, because I mean you're just reading like pages and for one module I could possibly have like up to like 80 pages, 100 pages of just notes. And then what I failed to do, at least that's what I was still doing previously, what I failed to do was to go back on the slides, and like I mentioned earlier, when I don't like something I just leave it out. So that means that I've completely forgotten about that information, I've just completely left it out, so there's a gap in my knowledge, but I don't clock that. And then reading through, I think I just like, I'm just probably reading it for the sake of reading it, I'm not proper taking in the knowledge. Like, I mean, in that moment in time it's a short-term memory, I'm like yeah I get that, but when it then comes to like proper understanding, it was more like cramming the knowledge rather than understanding the knowledge. And at the end of the day, I'm not studying, like Ibi always says, I'm not studying for exams, I'm studying to potentially use that in practice one day or loads of days, to be able to make a patient better, to make a change in their lifestyle, whatever thing. So I have to like understand the concept rather than to cram it. So anyway, what I started doing now is basically I've stuck with the lecture slides, because like I said, I either just leave things out or I'm tired of reading the whole pages of stuff, so I just cram it. So what I do now, so I've got my lecture slides from the lecturers, and I, like I mentioned in my what's in my bag thing, I've got this little notebook that I just write my notes on or in. So I write my notes as the lecture is going on, and then when the lecture is over, what I've started trying to do now is to adapt like a quick 5-minute recap on what I've just learned. So what was the point of that lecture, what did I get from that lecture? And that's, you don't have to write that down. Well, I didn't write that down. Well, I just put it in my head. I mean, you could write it down because it kind of reinforces your knowledge, but I prefer, and I'm kind of person I prefer to talk about things. So if I could find someone, I would just quickly explain it to them what I've learned, or rather I just talk to myself a lot, so people probably think I'm crazy. I just talk about what's just happened, what I've just learned. Then when there's time, like, I mean, if there's no next lecture, when it's time to study, I basically just then type up those notes with the lecture slides, and I try to understand each and every single one of the things. I mean, I didn't do that before. I think I was probably just, I don't know what I was doing, honestly. I don't know, because now I believe I've got a deeper like understanding of things. And sometimes it can be really annoying because some lecturers decide to put like 100 slides. For what reason? I don't know. So I just condense that as well. Whatever's not needed, I take that out. And the next thing I do, so I try to do all my notes, or try to keep up with everything during the week. Then the weekend is for me to like, for extra studying. So that's me grabbing textbooks. I mean, I sometimes do that when I'm typing up the stuff if there's something I don't understand. But like videos, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a very visual learner, so I remember things when I've watched it or thing to help me understand. So that's my Saturday, that's my weekend. So I do that, and I just go through each of those lectures of that week again, and just go through that and try to get a good understanding. And then what I do as well is to use the learning guides. Use your learning guides. Honestly, they even told us today, the learning guides is how they set the exams. So I've just decided I'm going to use the learning guides. I mean, sometimes they don't correlate, and what you've got in the lecture is not the same thing as a learning guide. But if you can stick to your learning guides, they honestly help, because you know how much detail you should go into and how much information you should have. So I use the learning guides and answer the learning guides. So I do that on a separate Microsoft Word, or I just try to say that to myself. Then the final thing I do is to have flashcards. I've always used flashcards from my previous degree, but I don't know why I just neglected them. I don't know why. I don't know. I just never used them again in like first year and the beginning of second year. But I've recently like started doing them again, and it really helps me because I've just put a lot of colours, and at least when I'm on the bus I can just grab my flashcards and just study, or when I'm on the go rather, I can just study. Key thing I think I can take from this is to always remember to go back to the lecture slides, because otherwise you'll miss certain little details that they put in there and I haven't remembered to take into account. So yeah, that's what I basically do. I hope that makes sense. Then in terms of studying, actual studying, like when I said at the weekends, I'm a person that I tend to like just go for hours. Well, previously just go for hours and hours and hours and hours. And to be honest, who are you kidding? Like, your brain is already tired and it's telling you that it's time to stop. Like, but because obviously you're thinking, I've got loads of stuff to do, I need to do this, so you just power through. But you know what, to be more effective in your studying, why not just choose an allocated time and say, okay, I'm going to study for this period of time and take a break. I mean, I've said that before in videos, but it's so hard to do when I just keep thinking I have so much things to do, so I just go through it, just ram through the studying. But now I've just decided that, you know what, study for 45 minutes. I mean, because people say 30 minutes, but I feel like 30 minutes is too short for me, because between the first 5-10 minutes I'm like getting into that rhythm and getting into the studying, and then that's only like 20 minutes of studying, if that makes sense. So I think I can probably concentrate for about half an hour. Anything about 40-45 minutes, then that's pushing it. So I just decided, okay, it's time for me to take a break. And I probably should like just get up and walk around, but I'm so lazy that I just sit there and just go on, I don't know, internet or something, and just go on social media and find something to entertain myself with. That's basically how I study. I know it was really rushed through, but if you guys do want a bit more detail about things, then just let me know, because I didn't really know how much information you guys wanted, so I just wanted to just quickly talk through things. Yeah, I hope you guys were able to take something from this video, and I hope it's been very helpful to you. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. Click the subscribe button below and subscribe. Let's join this family. If you've enjoyed this video, do make sure you like it and leave in a comment in the comment section below. Sorry, I've got something, I don't know what it is. It's digging into my skin. Leave any comment in the comment section below if you have any questions, like I mentioned, or even if you found something that the way you studied that you found helpful, you want to share with me, please, because I'm ready to take in as much as possible. With medical school, you have to adapt, because based on whatever, I'm drifting again. But anyway, I hope you guys have found this helpful, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.